Thank you, Sheila. First, I'd like to extend my mazel tov, my congratulations to tonight's award winners, Brad Gross and Stacy Seawalk. And I think it's also appropriate to give our thanks and mazel tov to their respective parents, Hanford and Kitty Gross, and Marty and Merle Overman. I think they should be thanked for the wonderful job they did as parents. They must have done a lot of things right to have such wonderful children. So, mazel tov. I'd also like to welcome our new board members and our trustees to our Board of Directors and Board of Trustees, and look forward to working with you during the forthcoming year. A year ago, I began serving as president of Jewish Federation, and at this point, I can honestly say that most days I've loved it. My life has been enriched by working with the people who serve on the Board of Directors and the Board of Trustees, and with the numerous lay volunteers serving on the various commissions and committees that comprise our Federation. I can't begin to describe the satisfaction I've experienced working with the professional staff of our Federation, as well as with the professionals who run the agencies which provide vital services to our community. And Barry, you're incredible. I'm not sure Barry sleeps. He's always available, and almost daily I receive a blizzard of emails and telephone calls about a large variety of subjects. I can't thank you enough for your mentoring and your support. I suppose it's more than a coincidence that I'm speaking to you between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, during the days of repentance, when we engage in introspection regarding how we have lived our lives during the past year and how we propose to live during the next year. When we met a year ago, I spoke to you about 4 major issues that I believe our community needs to address. First, Jewish continuity, the need to engage the next generation and ensure their involvement in our community. Second, Jewish education, the need to greatly improve the quality of Jewish education provided to our children, increase the number of children receiving a Jewish education, and expand the number of adults involved in Jewish educational programs. Third, our shrinking Jewish population, the need to attract and retain young adults in St. Louis. And fourth, community harmony, the need to improve and expand on the level of cooperation among all the Jewish institutions in our community, and to make all segments of our Jewish community members of a partnership with Federation. Let me briefly review what we've done in these areas during the past year. As Barry mentioned in his remarks, the goals of continuity, Jewish education, and our shrinking population have all been addressed in our strategic plan. Obviously, the keys to success in achieving these goals will be the action steps adopted to implement the plan. We've already begun to address the quality of our day school education. Federation appointed a day school task force chaired by Bob Millstone and Todd Seawalk, as if they don't have enough to do. And this task force hired at Federation's expense a professional educational consulting firm. Every Jewish day school in the community, whether or not they receive funds from Federation, accepted the opportunity of working with the consulting firm at no cost to the schools. The goal of the task force was to explore whether the schools could collaborate in ways that would better achieve their mission in a financially suitable manner. Time will tell whether these efforts will be successful, but we should be encouraged by the fact that the schools are addressing the issues raised with consultants, and by the fact that the leaders of the schools are communicating with each other to attempt to build a better future. I can't resist telling a story whenever I deal with the subject of education, and the story is the one about 3 rabbis who were having a cup of coffee at Starbucks one morning, and one rabbi said to the other 2, "You know, I'm really upset. We discovered we have rats in our congregation and in the building. And the second rabbi, I hope there are no rats among the members of the congregation. And he said, we've really taken steps to try to get rid of the rats. We've set traps, we catch rats, and they keep coming back. The second rabbi said, well, that's funny. We have rats in our building also. And we've also taken steps to try to get rid of the rats. We've called in an exterminator. We've set poison. We've poisoned the rats. Rats die, and they keep coming back to our congregation. The third rabbi said, well, we have rats in our building also. And what I did was to get a very great quantity of Limburger cheese, a real strong odor, and we set it out, and we've attracted hundreds of rats. And I provided for them a bar mitzvah service, and they left the congregation, and they've never come back. Unfortunately, that's symbolic of what our educational process has been like, so I couldn't resist. As for the goal of improving community harmony, I certainly think we're on the right track. During the past year, Federation has sponsored or conducted meetings and programs attended by members of virtually all congregations in the schools and agencies funded by Federation. These programs addressed ways for our various institutions to collaborate for their common benefit. Increasingly, nonprofit organizations recognize the critical importance of endowments as a supplement to annual giving and as a reserve for emergencies. For example, this year, our board needed to dip into our endowment to provide additional dollars for the Lifeline Fund, established by Federation to assist people hurt by the economy. Already, the Lifeline Fund has distributed $480,000 to over 114 people and families. The imperative to build endowments is the impetus behind our Create a Legacy campaign, managed by our Jewish Community Foundation and led by Wendy Rosenblum and Ken Weintraub. Federation has demonstrated its commitment to strengthening all the organizations of our community by providing training, assistance, and financial incentives to launch their own bequest campaigns. Charitable bequests are the easiest way to leave a lasting legacy. Other programs and activities address ways for our community organizations to effect savings by utilizing Federation's infrastructure. For example, by having these institutions invest their endowment funds through Federation's Jewish Community Foundation, thereby reducing the organization's cost of managing their endowment funds. Community organizations can also save money by combining with Federation and other organizations to effect group purchases of items such as insurance. For example, this year alone, an additional 13 organizations, mostly congregations and day schools, joined Federation's liability and casualty insurance coverage for a savings of more than $100,000 in premium costs. We plan to continue similar programs and activities during the coming year. You may have noticed that there is a common challenge involved in achieving our four major goals. All of them require an investment of funds and talent. If we can make the investment of funds, I know we can attract the talent. So I'll conclude my remarks by addressing the financial investments we need to make. The money discussion has two aspects: the current annual campaign, which I can't resist making a pitch for, and the investment in our future. As for the annual campaign, as you know, the current state of our economy presents real challenges. So far this year, our campaign is at $4.7 million, with close to $5 million left to be realized. Obviously, if all the remaining solicitations come in flat, that is the same as last year, we will be looking at a $9.7 million campaign compared to $10.3 million in 2009. We are behind our solicitation by 836 donors. Obviously, we have a lot of work to do. We need to close the remaining solicitations with increases. There is some good news. Our Visionaries 2010 event, which is scheduled for October 11th, is off to a great start. To net $300,000 for the annual campaign, we need to secure through sponsorships, tribute book, and event attendees $450,000. We have over $200,000 left to go to meet our goal. All of you can help. I urge you to buy your tickets, sponsor a table at $5,000, buy a tribute page for our honorees, or become a sponsor, and attend the dinner. If the success of the campaign depended on the efforts and commitment of the campaign chair, we could all relax. I don't know anyone more committed and conscientious than Bob Millstone. But Bob can't do it alone. And we can't and shouldn't rely on Bob and Barry and Ruth Liederman and the development staff, all of whom, by the way, do a great job. But the success of the campaign ultimately depends on us, the members of our Jewish community. So I'm going to ask you to do two more things. You can relax. I'm not calling cards and asking you to make your commitment out loud, but I am asking you to do the following. If you have not made your pledge to this year's campaign, please do so promptly, and please increase your pledge if at all possible. And second, I urge you to volunteer to solicit others in the community and to ask your friends to volunteer to cover some cards. As for the investment in our future, we had always assumed that the expenses of achieving our goals would come from our annual campaign. I think we must rethink that assumption. But how we raise the funds is not important. What is critically important is that we make the investment necessary to assure our future as a viable Jewish community. I've always believed our community is truly wonderful, and we've always responded generously when our fellow Jews are in need. There's no doubt in my mind that the challenge of achieving a viable Jewish community for the future is a goal that we will all respond to. To all of you, I want you to know that we're grateful for the support you have provided so generously in the past, as well as the commitment of time and effort which many of you have given, not only to Jewish Federation, but the other institutions in our community. I hope you realize that we don't take you for granted, and that none of what we accomplish could be done without your efforts. I want to thank you for attending the meeting. I wish all of you a happy, healthy, and prosperous New Year and a meaningful fast on Yom Kippur.